You're listening to Podcast PXN,
a video game podcast
delivering player experience news.
Let's go!
We have some serious news. 2 weeks ago, we announced that gaming was back. Today, Wednesday, May 3rd, I am sad to report it's been found dead in a ditch. And welcome to Podcast PXN episode, let me check my notes, 189. I am one of your hosts, the perennial dating app swiper from Portland, Oregon. Yeah, Christian Macias. And I'm joined over Discord by Kentucky's #1 Spartan and PXN founder, Daniel Prindle, aka Dan is DTM.
We're all dead.
Oh, no.
I'm very much alive, thank you. Yeah, is it a threat or a promise?
Neither.
We're all dead.
Both. And the president of the Tifa Lockhart fan club. Happy belated birthday, Tifa. He's the Nintendo aficionado and artist extraordinaire at Roro.
Hello. Gaming might be dead, but Tifa is very much alive. Happy birthday, Tifa.
Woo!
Yeah.
And one half of the Men in Gitch podcast, Battlefield's bad boy, the Tarkov Teletubby, Oppenheimer himself, Gage Dempster. The Halo song?
Yep.
Yeah. And thank you to everyone watching us live and participating in the chat. Just as a reminder, we're normally not this way. We're live each and every we are like this every day. Every week. We're live each and every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern on YouTube. Just search Podcast PXN. And additionally over on twitch.tv/Podcast PXN. The topic of the show this week is video game publishers are not your friend, and we're here to remind you why that is. But first, the show always starts with the quick bites. Let's go ahead and jump right in. Swag. Okay. Make sure I have the right document up. Quick bites. PlayStation VR 2. Remember that thing? Will soon be available to buy at local retailers. Let me tell you right now, before we even start discussing, I'm not sure anyone is clamoring to get, spend $500 right now on this thing.
Yeah, I agree.
It's crazy. I haven't heard anything. Actually, now that you mention it, I kind of forgot that it was out.
Dude, right?
On Twitter, like when you really think, even PSVR 1, even though it never really, I've heard no one talk about PSVR 2 aside from launch week, which I forgot happened until now. Nobody's talking about this thing. Who does want this right now? I don't know. Not me.
You know what? They're putting as much marketing in this as Microsoft's putting into their first party marketing.
Ooh, he speaks the truth.
Hold on. Let's ooh. Yeah, that's pretty good. By the way, less than 300,000 units was the rumor, the scuttlebutt around Twitter spheres of how many this thing has sold, which is not a lot considering how much money Sony spent on developing this thing.
And what's the ratio then of PlayStations in the wild to VRs? Because that's got to be like what we're talking about, like single digit percentage.
Oh, I'm sure less than that, dude. Right? Because you mean okay?
Of how many people have a PS5 and PSVR? You know what I mean? Like there's millions of PS5s out there, and there's what 300,000. Right, that's insane. That is an insanely low attach rate.
38 million units to 300,000 units of PSVR 2. Do the math. Let's find out.
0.1% of PS5 people have
300,000 divided by what did I say? 38 million. 0.0079%. I rounded up.
That's a fucking
less
player
than a
base
percent
right there. That's a player base right there. Hell yeah, brother.
That's when you want to support. Yeah.
That's definitely gonna get us those AAA VR experiences like The Last of Us that we want. Definitely, those are the numbers that are gonna get that made.
Mm-hmm.
Call of the Mountain. Anyway. Oh look, it's Peak. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Confirmed. Last week we talked about the rumor on the show that From Software's Armored Core 6: Fires of Rubicon would release in August. Got confirmation via gameplay trailer that yes, it is making Planetfall August 25th, 2023. Let's wake up the dog.
Woof woof.
Hell yeah, brother.
It was a cool trailer. As someone who isn't into the FromSoft games and didn't play Armored Core back in the day, this one looks really cool.
Agreed. I think honestly, this trailer might sell me on it, even though I know it's still difficult. Hear me out. Hear me out. I know it's still difficult, but it's very different from their traditional games. So I feel like I might give this a shot. We'll see.
Mechs are also cool by default.
I swallowed the wrong tube.
God.
Oh, he's still. I can feel that pain. I can feel that pain.
Oh, the pain is real. It's the fires of Rubicon in his throat.
It is, man. Let the fires burn, or let the cinders burn. Damn, I'm saying right now, dude, I would not recommend this game to you.
I don't know.
This is guaranteed to be the hardest From Software game today. I am scared to play this game.
You think so?
Absolutely, dude. I'm terrified.
I don't know.
Would it? I have a question. I have a genuine question. Would Armored Core, was it 5 or 6?
6. But
Would
there's like
Armored
15
Core,
of these.
Oh yeah, well yeah. I'm guessing it's like Final Fantasy, right? Armored Core 6 would it still be the hardest From Soft game if they made Christian?
You're making me blush,
the
dude.
answer is no. Yeah.
You're making a joke, right? About
Yeah,
like
penis,
phallic?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's it. That's it.
Just making sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna be playing this. I'm gonna be buying this. I read an article with the producer of the game, and I watched Vati's video breaking down some of the gameplay elements. It looks like it's going to be the most approachable Armored Core game to date. That said, Armored Core games are still very much intensive. They're very much like mech sim. Their difficulty curves of like what do you call that? The learning curve is pretty steep. So I'm scared to be playing this game. It might be a game that I end up not even liking, but I'm such a huge From Software fan that I'm willing to give it a try.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Fair warning to everyone. If you're looking forward to Zelda, maybe mute some of those words online because The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom has leaked 2 weeks online before release. I looked up no other stuff beyond this because I didn't want to be accidentally spoiled. So I do not know details of the extent of what this is, but I know people are out there currently playing it.
Yes.
Sure. Yeah.
It's crazy. They've spoiled everything already. That Ganon just murders the entire universe.
Hell yeah.
I'm kidding. I haven't read
Entire
anything.
universe.
Yeah.
Finally won.
I love this for you, Dan.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, I didn't do any extra research either, but
Okay.
I knew that some like what I saw was some streamers had it early and they decided to play it because they like potentially ruining their lives. They didn't see the most recent Nintendo lawsuit, so they decided to do that. But people have it, so yeah, stay alert, stay safe.
Stay safe out there, kids.
Don't click on the Kotaku article too that says like everything we've learned from the leaks because
the title is correct. Yeah,
I'll take you one step further. Don't click on any Kotaku article. Just save yourself the hassle.
Rip Kotaku.
I take it back. Gaming might still have some kind of pulse because Titanfall director Steve Fukuda is reportedly in early stages of developing an original IP game over at Respawn. Very excited. Of course, us here at PXN are very big Titanfall fans, so whatever they're working on next is sure to be pretty good, hopefully.
Just don't play it on PC.
Yeah, fair. Or release it when other big games are coming out.
True.
Yeah.
Okay. Fortnite fans, stand up. The Find the Force event is happening now as of yesterday, May 2nd, on Fortnite, where you can play as Anakin Skywalker from the prequels. I think Padme is in there as well. And, of course, clone troopers, there's blasters, there's lightsabers. Oh, Darth Maul. And then, what did I say? Blasters, lightsabers, and the Force. Of course, you can use the Force to, like, pick up rocks and stuff and throw it. Double jump and stuff.
May the
Are there
Fourth be with you.
small children that are also able to be slaughtered en masse? If not, it's not really a fairly accurate Star Wars prequel tie-in. That's all I'm saying.
Technically, you
That
are
happens in
slaughtering.
the movies.
Technically, you are slaughtering children who play Fortnite.
That's also a good point, Dan. That's actually a very good point.
Let the record show we are not actually murdering children.
We do not condone this behavior. Yeah.
Yep. Nor do we support. Yeah, good call, Ro. Gaming adjacent news. This is all movies.
We felt we might. Yeah, no, that was a... Jesus.
What's up, man? What?
Nothing. Go ahead.
Gaming adjacent news. This is movies and TV stuff, but it all is all on video game adaptations. So, thank you for whoever added this in. Yes, I forgot to include this. We'll circle back to this at the end. Twisted Metal gets its first look. Twisted Metal, the TV series on Peacock, starring Anthony Mackie, gets its first look in trailer. The series premieres on July 27th. I gotta say, I am still not excited for this. That poster was pretty bad.
Pretty bad poster. Yeah, I'm same boat. Again, I think for this one in particular, it may just be that because I'm not a Twisted Metal person, because like the one that we're going to talk about next, a lot of people on Twitter seem to be down with this for some reason. It could be that they just knew that it might be good, bad to them. They know what they're getting into. So they're just there for the ride. But I was surprised to see how many people were like, hell yeah, Twisted Metal is back, baby. I was like, okay.
So I have a Twisted Metal story, but it's disgusting. So I'm gonna put it to a vote. Are we doing some ISO Christian lore live on the show regarding Twisted Metal?
Everybody's gonna vote yes.
Passing.
No, yeah.
All right. So if you're eating, you may not want to be listening to this.
I'm eating.
All right. So back in the day, I was at my homie's house. My homie Jesus. Shout out to him. We were best friends, and we were playing Twisted Metal on his PS2, or I guess PS1. One of those. And one of those, I think it was PS2. And suddenly, I had issues in the bowels growing up, various constipations, and every now and then, like a dam just bursting, I'd have to go. And so I was like, "Hey, Jesus, I gotta poop. Is it cool if I use your bathroom?" He's like, "Yeah, man, go for it." So I go to use his bathroom, do my business, done, cool, flush.
Yep.
It's not going down. No, it's not going down. What if I flushed again? Nope. It just like rose. It rose over the bowl line.
Oh, no.
And so I go back to the room and I'm like, "Hey, Jesus, I clogged your toilet." Don't worry about it, bro. Just go tell my mom. She'll clean it up.
Oh no.
And I'm like, "No, I can't. I can't do this. It's fine. Just tell her I did it." I was like,
"So why did you
like,
tell her?"
So I'm like, "No." He's like, "No, fine. Let's go together." So we walk together. We go tell his mom that he clogged the toilet, right? And she goes, "All right, go tell your sister to go clean it up."
Oh no.
So the sister that I kind of had like a crush on, she was in high school. I was in elementary school. Very cute girl, is having to go clean up my mess, I'll say. And this is where it gets really graphic, so hold your horses.
In case it
so
wasn't
we go
already.
in case it wasn't. Yeah, so we go into the restroom, and she's like, he looks at it and immediately he's like, "Jesus, go get a stick." But because I did it, I was like, "Oh, I'll get the stick." I go get it. I come back. She's like working it. We have to get a bucket as well from the garage to like scoop and pour in the trash. And then she's like, "Jesus, what the fuck did you eat?" And I was just sweating and very embarrassed. That's my Twisted Metal story.
That was not a
Twisted Metal.
Where's the Twisted
That's like
Metal?
saying I have a Naruto story, and it's like I got married to my girlfriend, and there was Naruto was playing in the background. Like had nothing to do with Naruto.
This happened while we were playing Twisted Metal. We went back to playing it after.
No, this happened because you didn't eat enough fiber.
I'm glad you told the story though.
Anyway.
My God.
Okay, well, there's that.
Yeah. Moving on. The Gran Turismo movie got its first reveal, or I guess its first trailer, I should say, not reveal. Directed by Neil Blomkamp. This is exclusively in theaters coming this August. I gotta say, not a very impressive trailer. Seems like a kind of a generic movie from Neil, if I'm being honest, but I do gotta say, I like the emphasis that is like required of racers, that like, yes, you still have to be athletic to some capacity. and I like they're really putting some emphasis on like game technicality is one thing, but you have to translate that into like real life skills as well. So it should be very interesting to see how that crosses over. Inspired by true story as well.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask about. Like, so is that like 100% of the story? Because sometimes they'll say like inspired by a true story, and then it's like nothing like the actual story. Is that like
We won't know until
That's fair.
we see it.
That's fair.
But like it is like, I mean, I feel like there's at least like based on a true story in terms of like something like this somewhat happened, and then there's based on a true story like, no, this is a character that exists in real life, but we're kind of making it more fun to watch. And from what I understand, this person did exist and does exist, and went from playing video games to becoming an actual professional driver.
Yes.
The part where like the race car forms around him actually happened.
For the what? What do you say?
There's a part of the. It's not even funny. I'm sorry.
What is going on?
Oh God. I'm glad Gage thought it was funny at least.
Small brain. Small brain, rise up.
Oh my God.
Sorry,
Is it even worth repeating, Ro?
It's
not really. No.
Okay. I have FOMO. I want to know.
I said
you're asking what was real and what wasn't, and Christian said the part where the car forms around him was real.
At the end of the trailer, yeah. Oh God. But Christian was actually going to say something intelligent, silly. I think.
I don't remember what it was. It never is anyway, but I will. Yeah, I guess to Ro's earlier point is like, yeah, this dude did exist. I remember like trying to keep up with it, and I ended up falling off. But yeah, like you guys both covered it already. So
you guys are looking forward to it though. Christian,
I guess.
Yeah.
I have the Regal card thing where it's like, you know, I have unlimited movies. I pay $20 a month to watch unlimited movies. I'll see it that way. You know.
Saying that things like that exist in the States with your movie pass and all that. Like, I don't understand how that makes any sense, but good for you, man.
Movies, man. Now more than ever.
If I had the option, I'd be all over that. Oh, someone's protesting.
Mario movie. Moving on. Congratulations. The Super Mario Bros. Movie from Illumination has now passed $1 billion worldwide as of April 30th. Huge. I think it's the biggest animated movie ever of all time.
Crazy.
Money wise.
Yeah. I apologize, Gage, but I have now seen this movie. My sister took me to see it, so I went to see it without you.
You chose your sister over me?
I did. I'm sorry. I apologize. She really wanted to see it. She went to Trinidad a week ago when the movie came out, and she was supposed to go with her friends. And her friends went without her. But I also felt bad. So we went together.
Sounds like your sister needs to pick better friends, and so do I.
That's good. That's good.
Fair. I walked into that one.
Oh.
But it was good. I liked it. I see why people I see why critics didn't like it, but as a fan of Mario, I loved it. It was really fun.
Exciting.
Yeah.
For posterity, it's worth mentioning that Ro gave this 3.5 stars on Letterboxd.
I did. Not a 4. 3.5.
No heart, just 3.5. No heart.
I forget to like the movies these days. I should do that more often.
Didn't like it that much.
I guess not,
How many stars is one heart worth, do you think?
No, that's a whole topic, dude. That's a great question. That is a whole topic. Yeah.
It's gotta be three or more for me.
Wow,
Or a like. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
See, the thing for me is like a movie can be bad and I can still heart it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Smoking Aces, baby. I love that movie. Yeah. It's bad. I love that movie.
Definitely.
Dan, Smoking Aces is a bad movie.
No, that's fair.
I love it, but it's a bad movie.
That's fair. Resident Evil movies, terrible movies, but I love them.
And there you go.
Yep.
Our last movie TV quick bite is that filming has concluded on season 2 of the Halo TV series on Paramount, to which Gage said, "Oh, I loved all the production of this. Hopefully the writing is as good." Something like that.
Yeah, more or less.
The writer's strike is happening right now. Is that going to affect
Oh,
it, or is this too
yes,
far?
it
out?
will.
Well, it's
if
already
fin-
done.
If they finish
Oh,
filming
it finished
season
it. I'm
2,
sorry. You're right.
That's not true, Dan.
You're wrong.
How does that
occurs
work?
writing occurs on set all the time. Like any changes to a script while filming is considered writing and is considered crossing that picket line.
But the filming is done, so isn't it just
Yeah.
in the editing phase?
Oh, I'm sorry. The filming. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was my
I'm
bad.
like,
I'm
wait
sorry,
a
I was
minute, I'm
confused.
silly.
Dial it back there. All right, let's dial it back. The
I
filming's done.
apologize. Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Oh, how much
man.
power do these writers have?
If they have to do any reshoots,
True.
And they're messed up.
Yes.
whoever added this, help me out here. But we got confirmation that Xbox, the UI redesign is finally happening. I don't know when that's coming, but I did see some images floating on Twitter, and people are saying that it looks like a step up to what we currently have now. Correct?
It is. Yes, it's a huge step up because you can see your background, which is so bizarre to me that Xbox has offered so much personalization going back like the 3 or 4 different UI redesigns they've had. They've always done such a great job with functionality, and the background has always been blocked by tiles one way or another. So this is a good step forward. I still wish that the bottom row, like it should be one row of apps. Like I hate that they have to have their one section of ads all the time. I still think this is better. This is a step in the right direction, but I still feel like I would much rather see a background to whatever.
And here's the
Dan,
thing.
let's hear it.
Those ads will never go away.
No, I know.
Yeah.
But there's I know they'll never go away, but I don't think that there's any justification for that because I was thinking about it. For some reason, it popped into my head that when I said I love the PS5 UI design when I first got it, and you guys were like, "What? That's crazy." I was thinking about it. I was like, "What do I like about the PS5?" I was like, "Oh, because when I'm hovering over a tile, it just shows me things related to the game. If I'm
Yeah.
on my home, I want something. I only want to see stuff related to my home, which for me is the games I'm currently playing, one row of apps, and my background. That's all I want to. I don't want to see Warzone Season 3 Reloaded play as Kobe Bryant or whatever is going on. I don't want to see that. I don't care.
You play as Kobe now?
I don't know. Somebody.
I guess when you boot up the PlayStation, it always puts you on like the Discover tab, where like it's just news updates, what's happening. There are those ads there, and you tab over, not tab, but like just move the cursor over one, and then you're on the rest of the tile. So I guess
I feel like it puts me to maybe when you're talking from hard shut off. Maybe mine's only ever in rest mode. But when I boot up my PS5,
I only do rest mode.
I swear it just puts me right back to whatever game I was playing. If I was playing The Last of Us and booted the PC
Let's find
down,
out.
PS5 down, it puts me on the Last of Us.
You know
tab.
what's
I could be wrong.
While Christian's booting that up, you know what's funny? Everyone, I've seen a lot of people like saying how good this looks. It's literally the same thing. It's just they made the tiles a little bit smaller. Like
No, they got
moved
rid
them
of
down.
2 rows. Didn't they?
No, I don't believe so. Because that was like scrolling before. I'm pretty sure they just made the 2 rows smaller, unless I'm mistaken. Pretty sure they just made those 2 rows smaller and just pushed them to the bottom of the screen.
Was this released already?
Either
No.
way, you can now see 60% of your background
Yeah.
instead of the
That's
25% it is now currently.
It is
Still
fair.
wish we could get closer to 80%, but I'll take 60 because I've taken some great screenshots and that's the only place I want to use them.
I think Dan is right. I'm looking, I think, at what the current UI is, and it's just 2 rows.
Yeah.
But the tiles are larger and more prominent, so
Okay.
they're just smaller and now moved down to the bottom.
I think this is in preview now to answer your question, and alpha skip ahead, I believe. So
Yeah, I don't think there's any official ETA, but it's
yeah.
on the way.
Yeah.
We'll be here shortly, thank God.
What happened on
okay.
I was going to ask what happened for the PS5 update, Christian. When you
Yeah, I
opened
had
it.
the wrong HDMI on. I was like, why is it not loading? So from rest mode with no game on, it puts me on the explore page immediately. So I see like Fortnite event, my news from PlayStation, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then you move over one. It's my most current played game.
Okay.
Now the question is, were you on the explore page when you put it in rest?
That's a fair question.
No, probably not.
All right, you need
So
to
what
go
if you
over to
were?
a game, start it up. Then I want you to close the game down. Then I want you to turn off
That's
your
too much.
PS5 and
That's
turn
too
it
much.
back on. We'll wait.
Too much. Wait, what am I looking at here?
We're on Street Meet.
This is from last week, eh? Right? This is last week's?
Yeah, that was last week. Yeah.
The only Street Meet I'm aware of is that one account on Twitter was like, oh, there are rumors that there is a Sony showcase happening in May with all these games. And I was like, that seems like a lot of stuff. I don't know if we're seeing that much, and I don't know if that's true.
Can you send that to the private chat? I want to take a look at that. Because Jeff Grubb has also been on the record for a while saying that the showcase is happening in May. He didn't say what games will be there.
You're lying.
No, Jeff Grubb, the man himself, the Grubby Grubby.
I found it. Found the tweet. Huge. This is coming from Rhino the Bouncer, Pacer Twitter, who says huge PlayStation showcase. I have to just let you know. Huge PlayStation showcase has long been rumored to take place in May with a rocket emoji. Here are the games that supposedly are confirmed. They have check marks next to them. Wolverine from Insomniac. Spider-Man 2, which, sure, but we also remember we got a rumor that there was supposed to be a large push for this game happening sometime in August. Stellar Blade, cannot wait, sure. Silent Hill 2, the remake from Bloober. Last of Us multiplayer, I'm not convinced.
Huh. I am. It'll be there.
Death Stranding 2, maybe. Ghost of Tsushima 2, really?
I don't think so. Sony
Santa Monica new IP, really? Maybe.
All of those things.
Yeah.
Oh, no, there's more. So. Ben Studios new IP, sure, guy. Bungie new IP, no way. We know there may be happening, but not yet.
Hold up, though.
It's going to be the greatest showcase of all time.
Yeah,
it has been. It'll be close to 2 years that they've had a major showcase by the time this comes. So I mean, it's yes, they didn't do it last year. They only did directs.
No,
okay,
I don't mean yeah.
All right. I'm not saying all of this. Last of Us multiplayer is guaranteed to be there. There's no way. You really think Neil's gonna walk on stage and say, "Hey guys," he's gonna say again for the 4th time, "You know you're excited just a little bit soon. We're gonna no, they're gonna show something, even if it's an engine trailer or something." Absolutely, Last of Us multiplayer is there. No way, it's not.
We'll see.
I hope so.
And Wolverine.
Stellar Blade. I want that.
Wolverine.
Yeah. Oh.
Are we gonna see Wolverine at the same time we're gonna see Spider-Man 2? I seriously.
We did the last time.
Yeah, but that was a reveal, like a teaser announcement, and Spider-Man's a lot closer to coming out. I don't see.
Right, but we could see a Spider-Man 2 deep dive and maybe just a Wolverine in-engine sort of like
But why would they do that again though? Like they already kind of did that with Wolverine.
First of all, Dan, why is Sony doing any of the things it's been doing the last year and a half? That's we can start there.
Jim Ryan.
Oh, I thought there was going to be more to this. Okay, yeah. So we'll see. Keep an eye on PXN to see if this is true or not. We'll break the news. We won't break the news, but we'll talk about it.
Oh, we'll break it. We'll get all the sources.
Why don't you break my back, dude? Anyway, moving on to PXN News of the Week. We have one item here. Why only one? Because it's kind of a big one. Today, Microsoft...
We're waving to Lynn.
Oh. I didn't realize she was there.
Today, Microsoft has announced that June's Xbox Showcase is officially coming Sunday, June 11th at 10 a.m. Pacific. And yes, the Starfield Direct, I think, is happening during this time as well? Right after?
Right after.
It's unclear. Right after.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Followed by the Starfield Direct, yes. Now, is this a little bit of damage control given the Redfall kind of reviews dropping yesterday and today?
Absolutely.
However, we're expecting probably some big stuff here. What are we expecting? Hellblade, Senua's Saga? Question mark?
Absolutely, yeah. That
Hollow
game-
Knight? Silksong?
Oh god.
Probably. That's a safe bet. Actually, that's
Indiana Jones? Wonder Woman? I'm just throwing stuff out. What do you expecting to see?
I think if there's any reshuffling going on right now, which is, has happened in the past, things have been shuffled very close to when they're supposed to go. And we still have a decent amount of time, but I think if there's any reshuffling going on, they are probably going to be taking out their long away announcements and putting in screen time for games that they think are going to do really well. And like indies that people are really excited for, I think it's a safe bet that we're going to see a lot of those games that are close to being done on their way out within the next year and that have really positive buzz, and or Microsoft/Xbox is like faithful and like sort of like convinced will do well. I think they're going to start putting those front and center, because Xbox has an optics issue that's only been getting worse this past year and a half, 2 years, and they really gotta get some excitement generated.
And there are ways to do that. I think a big one that Dan has been predicting for a long time was the official announcement in the West of the Game Pass family plan, which I think would be huge for a lot of people, since they tie in Game Pass to a lot of their directs. Usually, they're not afraid from shying away from being like, every game that you just saw is available day one on Xbox Game Pass. Like, they love reminding people of that. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see something like this happen as well. Dan, any specific games you're excited for or hoping that show up?
Before I go into the games, to address your first question, this is absolutely them trying to pivot the conversation, because this was already announced on March 9th. Literally, they already announced the date and the event, and they also said the Starfield Direct is coming directly after the game showcase. They announced it because they were worried about people freaking out about Starfield not being shown off at their last event that they held. So yes, this is absolutely a pivot away from the conversation of Redfall, because it's already been announced. Like, I don't know.
Was it the whole? I thought their announcement was
Dan's
100%
right.
Really, it was the full thing.
There's zero new information. Zero new information with this big tweet push. Yes, everything has been said before.
I think the only new information is the time, because they announced the date, and they announced that Starfield Direct was coming right after the conference. But
right, so the specific 2 p.m. Eastern or whatever it is. That's the only new piece of information.
Correct. Which is that's insane to me.
I will say that at work then, because I don't know if a lot of people even remembered the original March, and when they saw this, like, wow, really? When they saw this on Twitter.
Is that also not a symptom of like Xbox not being like, I don't know, like the fact that people forgot and are now thinking that this is a new announcement? Is that also a symptom of like how Xbox has been doing lately in terms of optics? Because like that's not a really good thing either, right? You don't want people forgetting, oh yeah, they're having a big showcase, I forgot. Meanwhile, on the Sony side of things, we're all sitting here fucking clamoring, waiting for that, right?
Yeah.
We can dig deeper on this in TOTS for sure.
Yeah.
For now, we could still talk a little bit about what stuff we were expecting to see, because I think kind of the conversation right now that they're trying to pivot from is like, what is the current lineup of Microsoft games looking like? What can we be excited for? Because I think this year the big titles were Redfall and Starfield. With of course, shout out to Hi-Fi Rush, which happened earlier this year. That was great for them. And then I think Forza Motorsport is in the periphery as well, coming I think later this year or early next. I can't quite remember, but Xbox fans are clamoring to know what else is coming from Xbox, and I think this is now more than ever would be a great time to be like, this is our lineup.
Day of Decay 3.
There's no way, Gage. No. I'm sorry, there's no way. Unless we get like a super early in-engine thing, because Undead Labs is one of the worst in terms of technical like expertise. Like, all of their games.
Your mouth.
I'm not saying like negatively. I love State of Decay. I'm just saying like in terms of technology, like their tech is always a little jagged and buggy and stuff, and I feel like they're gonna need more time to like polish that. But I think we're gonna get a big look at obviously Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2, because I think that game's coming out in the fall. I know they haven't announced that, but that game's been in development for so long. We've seen it so many years in a row now. I feel like that game's ready. So I think we'll get a good look at that. I think we'll get and also we're kind of teasing ourselves because I'm sure we're gonna have an episode of predictions, but I also think we're gonna get Avowed, because Avowed was also announced a long time ago, and that's being worked on by the other team at Obsidian, not the team that made Outer Worlds. So they've been working on it for a long time now. I think we'll get at least gameplay of Avowed, maybe a bit more than that too. And throw this in there too, possibly a tiny little teaser of the next Gears of War.
I think you're onto something.
I think in the next 2 to 3 weeks we should have an episode where we predict all the summer bullshit.
Yep.
Yeah.
The summer bullshit predictions. Somebody titled that. That's
Coin
what we're
it.
doing. Summer bullshit. Yeah. Summer bullshit predictions.
What about Fable? The announcement was 2020, right? Or is it too soon for that still? 3 years since the reveal. Probably not going to talk about that just
It'd be nice
yet,
to
right?
get an update, I guess.
Yeah. That's the only thing that I thought of when it comes to Xbox. Like I can.
That's
really
from
think of anything
Playground,
else.
right?
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
so.
Fable. Yeah.
So here's an interesting question, gentlemen. Since Xbox is they're in optics damage control mode now, I think until the tide starts turning back in their favor. Do they even dare to mention Perfect Dark?
No, there's no way. There's
no
no way.
I don't think so, right?
Yeah.
They keep that bad boy locked in the
No.
closet.
That thing's
in the basement,
Yeah.
locked up, chained up.
that's
Don't
another
worry about it.
That's another illustration of Microsoft's failures because the initiative has literally fallen apart. There's reports that the initiative is down to less than 30 people that work there now, and that was supposed
God.
yeah,
Quadruple A.
yeah, that was supposed to be their Santa Monica studio that combated Sony Santa Monica.
no.
It's just like they haven't held the talent. They haven't. I don't know what's going on there, but it is not going well. Now,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Quadruple A. I forgot about that. That's funny.
Not good.
No bueno.
Triple A is already precarious enough. Can't imagine one more A.
And that's pretty much a Crystal Dynamics game at this point. Like
Yep.
they were brought in to
Yeah, sure.
develop it, but really, yeah, that's their baby now.
You're my baby.
How does that work?
Papa?
Hold on, I'm writing something in the document. Someone kill like 30 seconds. Less.
Hey,
baby.
You know what
Come
we're
on, baby.
brother.
you know what we're not going to see, Gage. We're not going to see another Halo game announced at this.
I fucking hope so.
We're not going to. There's no way.
I know.
At this point.
I know. I hope we never see Halo again.
Gage. No.
Oh my God.
Just never.
No.
The chief is dead.
Stop.
For real this time.
When are we going to see Chiefs video game ass? Anyway, let's move on into our fantasy draft check-in. Of course, REDFALL scores have come out. I think it's currently sitting at a 65 on OpenCritic.
Ooh.
And of course, Roe counterpicked it, and Gage, I think, had drafted it onto his. Sorry, 62.
Why do you think Rose all bubbles and sunshines this episode?
Let's go. Let's go. Because I was scared shitless when you guys were talking about how great Arcane was. I was like,
Dude.
did I make the wrong decision?
We've been on a roller coaster with this game.
It has. This
That's
has
true.
been
That's
such a roller coaster.
Oh my God. Christian?
6 weeks ago, I made a thumbnail, episode 183, titled "REDFALL." Game of the Year contender.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no!
That was the one that I think that was the episode where I was like, maybe I should drop this. Oh God.
I think we all had high expectations for this game, given.
Yeah.
But you know what's
Arcane's
funny is
opinion.
that was. I mean, nobody. I mean, we have to own the whole game of the year contender. That was definitely our decision. But the feeling of this game has been like it's been a roller coaster with everyone. Like everyone was buzzed about this game, and then everyone kind of got a little worried when it wasn't getting marketing, and then everyone was buzzed again when they dropped another great trailer, and then the IGN gameplay came out, and everybody's like, ugh. So this has been like a very tumultuous ride to launch.
And it's here. Now it's here.
Now it's here.
I don't mean to point this out, Gage, but I do believe this is the first game that we've ever drafted with a negative point. Is that right? I don't think we've ever had one under 70.
Ever or on
Ooh,
this
you may be
in this
right.
one?
In our turn, like
Oh.
last one or this one, I don't think we've ever had a below 70.
Good.
I think
So I'm
last
glad
year
that.
got close with a 60
Making
or a
history.
70 or 71. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're saying that this is I've won something finally. I've won the award for the first time that some of us got negative points.
Oh
The
wait,
first loser.
I think
yeah.
one of
I'm
mine
wrong.
might have.
Scorn got a 69.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
See, okay.
Deservingly so.
And then I think I picked that up, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, you sucked at this too. This brings, let's look at our new total here. In fourth, still me, I gotta step it up here.
Mhm.
Total points 11. I'm in 4th place. Gage, right behind you. Right behind you. 3rd place with 17 points. In 2nd is Roshan with 23. And that's it. That's everyone.
That's everyone. Yeah.
and Dan, of course, fuck me, in first with 92.
Nice.
Jeez!
Triple digits.
Yeah. They
Oh
they
my
say
God.
they say I have the best taste.
Jesus.
I don't think that's true. I think you just
almost said
lobby
something dirty.
and you get into. We all know your tactics behind the scenes. What you do, you grease hands and fingers.
It does.
He does. He's a greasy boy.
Whose hands am I greasing?
Anyone's you can get your slippery little hands on.
Oh.
Yeah, you little slut. Anyway, next week, Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom releasing May 12th, and Saliva Gang PDX. That's me, as of course drafted it earlier when we did this. So
I literally can't believe it. Every time I see the date, I was like, no way, that's next week. I'm so
that's next
excited.
week. I don't believe it.
cannot
I have to
wait.
pre-order it somehow.
And
Right, you wanted the physical. Yeah.
there's no way that doesn't skyrocket him to 2nd place, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see.
I hope so.
I hope the
I
game's
hope it does,
open on
yeah.
launch.
Ro, are you picking up physical?
I would love to. I haven't pre-ordered it either, though. But if I get that chance, like if I go in, yeah, I don't understand why they can't, because it's not. Well, actually, no, I take that back. Nintendo does actually give you the cartridges. I was going to say it's going to be a digital code anyway.
I lick them.
But no, they actually, yes, they're delicious.
Christian, you had a phenomenal comment in our chat that made us think about, digital versus physical, especially with Nintendo. And like, you sent the message that, well, I'm buying physical because I don't trust Nintendo with, games still working in the future. And I was about to respond like, well, no, I'm just going to keep it on my SD card and I can just put it somewhere. And then I read, you can't use the SD card on another Switch without formatting it, which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
God.
To be fair, I also own a lot of games digitally. The ones I don't care quite too much about. I probably shouldn't have been doing that, but for a game that's as big as Zelda, I would like to keep physical first. I mean, I still every now and then will play my N64 cartridges, and the day that those stop working is going to be a very sad day for me. So I went to Target online to see if I can pre-order Tears of the Kingdom, and I could, but it's delivery only. I can't like walk in and pick it up, and it's right next to the gym. So I was kind of bummed because I don't want to wait for it. I just want to go grab it. Okay. Let's move on over into what you got for me. If you missed this, I'll just say it. Whatever. I guess I shouldn't have wasted time writing it then. If you're playing either Redfall or Star Wars, this is a message to us in the podcast talking. Don't talk about it in depth until the topic of the show. Okay? Swag. Daniel, with that said, what are you playing?
Yes, sir. I finished Super Mario 3D World, the base product. Okay.
Got it.
Finished it. Went over to Bowser's Fury.
Hold on. The secret levels too? The challenge levels?
Yes, the star levels. Those were incredibly much more difficult. Yeah. They were much more difficult and they were much more satisfying too. I agree with you. That last level really gave me hell. I was really, yeah.
It took me like 2 or 3 days, man. It was awesome once I completed it. So kudos to you.
That one part, I can't. I think this was the last level, but there was one part where you had bullet people. I forget what they're called. Bullets coming out. Bullet bills. Yeah, bullet bills coming out of the things, and you had to time it just perfectly to like bounce off of each one to go up 3 tiers to climb to the top. I cannot tell you how frustrated I was at that. I could not get it up to the top for so long.
Insane.
Yeah. Ugh. Very insane.
The very ending of that, where like you're on the like a track where the like it infinitely boosts you and you have to collect the coins and there's like the lasers. That the number of times I lost there, it was very tough.
Very frustrating. Yes. And tough, yes. But
Bowser's Fury? Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, you're good. I moved over to Bowser's Fury, which I started that. I haven't gotten too deep into it yet because I kind of went to bed right after that. But I am very much interested because it's like I didn't realize Bowser's Fury is almost like an open world experience, which threw me for a loop because I went in there and I was like, wait a minute, where are the levels? Where I'm in like all the levels. Yeah. Like looking around and there's different areas. That's really cool. So I'm excited to finish that. I've been playing it at night, so very cool. I've also been playing Star Wars Jedi Survivor a bit. I'll talk about that, I guess, more later because I don't really have too much to say anyways about it because I only played like 2 hours of it roughly thus far. But yeah, more to come. Okay. And also one last little tidbit I want to throw in. I really like the narrative events that they're doing with Halo Infinite. Like Season 3's first narrative event, I thought was really cool. Now, don't get me wrong, extremely bite-sized. It's very, very short cinematics, but I really like where they're taking this multiplayer story. I think it's really cool. And the fact that they use your multiplayer character in the cinematics now, very cool as well. Kind of a throwback to Halo Reach in that regard. Yeah, and the most recent one is teasing something big for Season 4 that I am very excited about if it is going to happen. I don't want to spoil it if anybody doesn't already know, but yeah.
And I don't know. Roshan?
Yes, sir. Christian wrote in the doc, I bet Rose says, quote, nothing. And Christian, you're right. I have absolutely nothing. Again, for what I think is a month now, maybe. But I'll be damned.
Swag.
The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is coming out next week. And if I don't have something to say the week after next week, because it comes out after Wednesday next week, you guys can do whatever you want to me.
Hell yeah.
Have your way with me. But
oh my god.
next week will probably be nothing again, but I swear to Jesus, if the week after I haven't played Tears of the Kingdom yet, something is very wrong. Something is very, very wrong.
Check it on you, yeah. Okay. There you have it. Let's fight Ro. I finally sat down and beat RE4 Remake. Fun game, huh? I think I ended up loving the original. I think I like the original more. RE4 Remakes was still a great time though. 4 out of 5 stars on Backlogged. Follow me. No more to say about that. I've been playing, of course, a lot more of Destiny 2. I finally did the most recent raid included in Lightfall, I think, which is the Roots of Nightmare raid. Way easier than I was anticipating it. It is not a complex raid at all, and I think I ran it in just over an hour without knowing much of the mechanics, but still, like, gorgeous to look at. I really do enjoy the Destiny raids, regardless of their length or complexity, or lack thereof, I guess. And then I've been playing Guardian games as of yesterday's reset. I don't know why. Hunters aren't going to win anyway. But here we are, trying nonetheless. Titan, I swear to God, if you're a Titan, I'm leaving this call. Dan or piece of shit.
Titan. Titans haven't won. I think Hunters were the ones who won last time. I think.
I think Hunters have ever won.
Or I think I might misremembering. I think Titans did win last time, actually.
Hunters are the GOAT.
No. I hate that I have to support Dan, but he's right.
Why do you hate that?
Oh, man.
And they're not. Yeah. We're so useless.
Guys have capes, though.
We do have capes and ad clearing capabilities, but we don't have wells or bubbles.
Correct.
Thank God they're for next season they're changing the Titan shoulder charge to consume melee ability. It's only 15%, but God, it's such a nightmare in PvP.
I don't like that change.
God. Why am I back into Destiny, man? Why am I back in it?
Gotcha.
Gage, what are you up to?
I'm surprised I didn't say this last time. I must have forgot. I've been replaying The Last of Us Part 2 because of watching the show. And surprise, surprise, the game's still a masterpiece. And I have not, my opinion of it has not soured at all. The game is fantastic. Oh my God. I'm about halfway. I feel like I'm not going to talk specific spoilers, but I'm going to talk about exactly where I am because the game's been out long enough. I feel like that I should at least be able to talk about it. So I'm playing as Abby now. And
Who?
I remember distinctly the first time I played this game. That is when the structure
Yes.
choice really hit me. Where when you open up Abby's inventory and you realize you have to do everything all over again. I did remember like the first time I played it, I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Like I did not think it was cool. I was not on the page that Neil wanted me to be at this time. Where I was just like, this like. Aside from it is completely separate from character and story, it was all about gameplay. I was like, this is stupid. I don't like this. But now playing it a second time and knowing the whole kind of reason of everything, like I'm playing through it. I'm really enjoying the set pieces more. I'm enjoying the character animations. I'm still a little bit bothered by the Last of Us Part 1 remake because I was dead set after playing The Last of Us Part 2. I was like, oh, this is cool. This is like Ellie's clearly the female character animations and Abby's the masculine female or masculine animation. So in the remake they'll like use like it'll be in this engine, it'll be cool. And then we got the remake and it was kind of like a remaster or whatever what it ended up being. But either way, I'm enjoying it. I love playing as Abby. I love her close combat animations and how fucking brutal she is. It's great. It's good stuff. Story I still feel like is a little bit weaker on her side of things. But having a good time playing it, and oh my god, this game, I don't understand how this launched on a PS4 still. It doesn't make any sense. Black magic. It's really the only explanation.
How do any games get made? Seeing some of them is like, how is this working?
Even especially, so go ahead.
There's a scene that someone posted not too long ago of like Ellie when she removes her shirt and like there's like no clipping. It's just like one continuous take of like that shirt being taken off. And like there's like no artifacting. Like just it flows. It's very cool. I don't know how these artists do it.
Grand Theft Auto 5, when you get in and out of water, I'm still baffled to this day how that works. Like the water only gets wet up to however high you go in the water. Like
so. That's actually the perfect segue into what I was about to say. Is that like PS4? It's like, oh, you know, how games got launched. That's an even better example. That thing launched on a console with 500 megabytes of VRAM. How does that make sense? That's insane. Which is why when people on gaming Twitter like to pretend that they're not excited about Grand Theft Auto 6, I'm like, well, you clearly don't remember history, because there are certain studios that exist, and there's only a handful of them that are like they change the tide of gaming, and Rockstar and Naughty Dog are those studios.
RDR2 is also like
insane
stuff, dude. You know what I mean?
I just saw a clip on TikTok of somebody no clipping and like showing off the volumetric clouds, and I was like, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. This game should not look this good. But specifically Last of Us Part 2 is what I've been playing, and that's what I've been noticing. It is insane. Oh, that game's so good.
All right. We've had our fun talking about games that are good. Now let's talk about games. Now let's talk about games that have. I'm not gonna say that are bad or not good, but that have some issues. I'll say it that way.
Oh.
Well, one of these is bad. One of these will be fixed soon, or is being fixed now. Let's talk about it. Dan mentioned Jedi Survivor, Star Wars Jedi: Survivor, the newest game from EA Respawn. This thing launched. Granted, all the love for its story, for its characters, for its open world, for its art design, lauded, justified. However, what is not justified is the current trend of developers and publishers releasing games that are not well optimized for PC, let alone not even well optimized for current hardware even. Click on this first YouTube link that I sent. Okay, as Digital Foundry labeled this the worst AAA port of 2023, PC port of 2023 so far, because there's sure to be more on the way, and it's happened so many. We just saw The Last of Us. Sony was very happy to be like, you know what, ship it, fuck it, we're gonna make money on it. So why not release The Last of Us Part 1 on PC? Because people are gonna buy it anyway. Yep. And that's the current trend, right? So Star Wars Survivor was not it. Poor performance, not just on PC, on consoles as well. I think there's obviously less kind of like bugs and stuff happening on consoles, but I think it was pretty bad on PS5 and a bit better on Xbox, or vice versa, one of the other two. But of course, PC was the worst of it. Glitches, you're loading in and you can't see anything. It's just like black screens. The list goes on and on and on, to the point where there were negative Steam reviews just flooding. I think it was like 31% mostly negative review scores on Steam. I think it's now up in the 50s now that some of the patches have come out. And Respawn had to come out and quote unquote, I emphasize that, apologize for the PC version, but they pretty much blamed it on people who have high-end PCs who are running it on Windows 11 or 10 with like some insane stuff. And it's like, no, dude, like if you go watch SkillUp's review on Jedi Survivor, he's like using like the most beast machine you can possibly get, and he is not even able to hit 60 FPS on the lowest settings. This is just indicative of poor PC optimization, not unlike the trends that we've seen. And we got news that the Jedi Survivor director refused another delay. Knew the team needed more time, saw what games were releasing around summer, and was like, fuck it, we'll just release it now anyway. How are we feeling about this? Dan, you've played it. What's your experience been like? Granted, you're only a little bit in.
Yeah, man, I didn't know that about the director saying or basically pushing the game out before it was ready. That's very disappointing to hear, especially from Respawn, which I feel like has done a pretty good job of releasing fully fledged products, I'll say. So that is disappointing. What I'll say thus far is, and this is granted before the patch came out yesterday. There was a patch that released yesterday on consoles. I haven't played it since that patch launched. So all of my thoughts are before that patch. I've had quite a bit of issues even playing on performance mode, which I'm surprised about because I felt like playing in performance mode with variable refresh rate, I'm like, there's no way I'm going to have a terrible time with this. And I was playing quite a bit. Like I played 2 hours, like you were saying, but there was, especially early in the game, there's a lot of sections where the frame rate drops like significantly, where it's noticeable when you're trying to, turn around a corner or whatever. Your thumbsticks aren't really reacting in the same way. I'm very sensitive to that kind of stuff, and I'm surprised because with variable refresh rate, that shouldn't exist, especially my TV supports variable refresh rate. So I almost wonder if something's going on with the game that it's not supporting that, because if that's theoretically supported, I shouldn't feel as much of that happening if frame rates are dropping like that, especially if it's not that significant. So that's very concerning to me in that regard.
I guess for your sake, I will say that I saw some mutuals talking on Twitter saying that they felt that quality mode is actually running the game better than performance mode.
So
yeah, go ahead.
No, keep going.
For whatever reason, quality mode, at least like entering some of the open world spaces and then some of the linear spaces, there's like less frame rate dips and more frame rate. What is the thing? Not the consistency or frame rate?
Yeah.
Pacing, I think.
Frame time or
I don't know. More
anyway,
consistent frame time.
Yeah, is more stable on quality than it is in performance mode.
Gotcha. And
which is strange because I follow your logic, Dan. Like I would have thought the same thing. Let me put it to variable refresh rate so that if it needs to chug and go to 40, like it'll just do that. But that's surprising that you had issues with that. Yeah.
Yes. And Ryan McCaffrey said the same thing you were saying, Christian. And I saw his tweet, and that's when I went back in and played for about a half hour. And I played for a half hour on graphics or quality mode, and I was like, I can't do it. I literally can't. My brain is so used to playing Halo Infinite's multiplayer at 120 frames per second that if I go to a 30 frames per second game, like I can't do it anymore. It literally, my brain just, everything looks like it's chugging. The environment's moving. I just can't. It's not a good experience for me.
And like, come on, like we spent money on these consoles, and if you're playing on a PC, you spent more money on making a powerful PC to run these games. EA is charging $70. The teams knew that it was not ready to go. It needed more time, and they said, well, let's ship it anyway. It's close enough. Like, when we're this far in, should we not expect the quality to be a bit higher than what we're getting?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think it's a widespread issue or anything like that, but I think it is important to know that toxic positivity does exist, and I think we're getting to the point where publishers are realizing that they can use it as a shield, right? They can use the what we see on gaming Twitter, which is very much like, hey, devs worked really hard on this, and if you shit on this game in any way, then you're being toxic and you're not appreciating the hard work that went into it. And it's like, no, because I can guarantee you every single one of these games that's launched in a poor state, that was not a surprise to the dev team. They were probably like, hey, this game's not finished, we need to work on it, right? But you need to be able to criticize these companies without people correcting you or like saying that you shouldn't, because you're exactly right, Christian. People have spent money on these consoles. People have spent money on their computers. And the specific thing with that quote that you shared, where they were kind of like the half apology, where they said, they specifically mentioned that mixing, they tried to, how did they try to play it away?
DLSS or something? Or
no, they said that a lot of these issues come when mixing high-end components with low-end components. And yet I've seen countless videos of people with like a Ryzen 9 9500 and a 4080, all top of the line specs, and the game's still chugging, right? So that apology, quote unquote, was that just kind of made things worse, I think, because that came off very much as them trying to kind of dismiss any sort of criticism. But I think it's important that from a consumer standpoint that we do criticize these companies. It doesn't mean that we hate developers. Yeah. Some people can't tell the difference between publishers and developers. That's never gonna change. Some people are ignorant and don't understand. But to dismiss the majority of criticism on a small few really holds it. I'm realizing that it kind of just gives like these publishers a shield, and they can kind of like hide behind that and say like, well, hey, we don't tolerate any sort of harassment. It's like, well, no. You guys are screwing over your customers, right? And again, you guys meaning the people that actually make these decisions, not the art team, not the gameplay designers, the people that actually have power in this decision. Same as Halo, same as any of these controversies we've talked over in the last 2 years. Like, it's just getting more and more and more mainstream, and I think publishers are just getting bolder and bolder and thinking that they can get away with it, because like tech is more powerful now, but it's not like, I don't know, somebody else I'm so angry. I'm so heated. I don't think there's any excuses. Go ahead. Somebody else.
Go ahead, Christian. You haven't said.
The thing for me is like, and that's a great point to I guess even reiterate, is like, yeah, no dev wants their game to release in a poor state. They want their game to be the best thing it can be, right?
Yes.
We're not blaming them at all. That's a great point to even, that I want to reiterate. But the thing for me is like, oh my god, I lost the point.
Could I
jump in?
If you don't have
please.
it, Christian, based off of what Gage was saying and the toxic positivity of it all, I don't even have much to add, but I would like to read an interaction I had underneath a Kind of Funny video that kind of like lends to what you guys were saying about the toxic positivity thing. So it was a REDFALL video. It was Kind of Funny. REDFALL at 30 frames per second is a deal breaker, and we had this conversation a week or two ago where that was announced, and they're still going to ship it still under 30 frames per second. And basically what I said in the podcast is what I commented on the video. I said 30 frames per second isn't a deal breaker for me. That being said, 60 frames per second should absolutely be the baseline at this point with these expensive consoles, expensive games, and advanced tech. People have a right to be disappointed about it, which is exactly what I believe Gage just said. It's like, or Christian said this actually. It's like
totally fair criticism.
Yeah,
totally fair criticism.
Paying so expensive for these things. These things should work. And then somebody responded, "How much is it on Game Pass with the clown emoji?" And I was like, I guess it's just the sub price. This is my response. I guess it's just the subscription price. So the barrier for entry is super low. I'm pretty sure my point still stands though, right? 60 frames per second should be the standard now, especially if it's a Xbox first party game or no. And they respond, "It doesn't matter to me. And a game can be broken, but if it's free, I will still try it. Then if a game sucks and it's unplayable, I'll just move on." The unplayable just move on thing, fine. But the game isn't free.
No.
And we are playing for this.
Yeah.
But just because it's on Game Pass, in his mind, he thinks it's free, and if it doesn't work, it's fine because it's on Game Pass. It's like, that's such a low standard for somebody who's not, once again, not free. And I don't know, it is a product at the end of the day. It's a great deal. Game Pass is fantastic. I'm not saying that it's not, but we are paying for it still. It's not.
That's such a
Game
weird
Pass
thing.
is a separate product. That's the important thing that people don't remember.
True.
Game Pass is a separate product from these, because there are people. If Redfall was exclusive to Game Pass, that argument have a lot more weight. But it's not. There's going to be discs on the shelf for people to buy who have never even heard of Game Pass before. So that argument, that makes me angry.
And does he think like Microsoft wants to be only putting out shovelware just because people are subscribed to it? Like, no, they want all their games to be good that are on there. That's the whole point, right?
Yeah. I ended the conversation by saying I think we should expect a bit more from developers. I would
Yes.
argue that it's not, quote, free, but Game Pass is absolutely an incredible deal. I also said 30 frames per second isn't a deal breaker. Just saying that if people are upset, I think it's justified. I'm out here playing Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I'm having the time of my life. I don't care about frame rate. I'm just saying that we should expect more without being awful to devs. And then they respond, fair enough. Fucking
Yeah,
at least
shut up.
like at least still
Hell
be
yeah,
mad at
Jeb.
me.
Right.
God damn it.
Have some consistency.
Yeah.
And I think I don't. You know what? I'm gonna play the part of the asshole in the room. This is another thing with Redfall specifically. It's not exactly Red Dead Redemption 2. It's not exactly like this whole locked at 30 frames. I could buy it if maybe there were reflections in the mirror and like there was actual detail in the environment, but this is a heavily stylized game. There is like almost, in my mind, zero, like I can't say zero reason because I'm not a game developer, but like really, like are we looking at the same game right now and seeing this has to run at 30? This game, like, I would argue that Fortnite looks better than this and runs better than this. And it's multiplayer, massively multiplayer. I don't understand. There's so many boxes to check, and it's like people will be like, yeah, but devs work hard. And it's like, yeah, I understand that, but like, this is a product that's being shipped, and there's an expectancy that it works.
Before we even dive into Redfall, I think earlier Dan had something to say on the Star Wars front. Could you remember?
Oh,
because I can't remember what I wanted to say. So
yes. I was gonna piggyback off what Gage said. I completely agree that toxic positivity can be bad just as much as toxic negativity.
Absolutely.
Which, obviously, if you're going to be negative towards a product, that's perfectly fine. But no one should go hunting down developers saying, "Oh my God, you're doing such a terrible job. What are you doing with your life?" Like, that kind of stuff is toxic negativity. But stuff like what Roshan said, like toxic positivity, can be just as dangerous, because why are you defending Microsoft for putting out a product that is broken? And arguably, people said that about Halo Infinite, which I would argue Halo Infinite, in a far different state than Redfall's releasing in here. Yes, has a lot of problems with it, but it was actually functional. But yeah, one more thing. I think perception is obviously a big part of it as well, because like you were saying, Gage, you took their tweet, Respawn's tweet, as like they were backhanding people, which is understandable. A lot of people had that same reaction. I read that as like, these developers were just figuring out what was going on with the game, like what was breaking the game. So they probably found some instances where high-end hardware mixed with low-end hardware was causing problems, and maybe they put that statement out a little bit too soon and didn't really gather all of the information before, putting out a statement. Because yes, that does look bad, but like maybe behind the scenes they were like, all right, we found this instance of this happening, let's put this word out there so people know. And then they put it out there and people were like, no, I've got a fucking Ryzen 9600 or whatever, and everything else that's high end.
I'm with you, but I feel like this would also hold more weight if we did not also know that the director of the game refused another delay.
That's absolutely fair.
Right. And that goes to like Gage was saying like earlier that like these instances are not happening all the time off the bat, which is there are a lot of great games releasing constantly. Yeah. But it feels like the instances are not few and far between anymore. And it feels like it's happening more with higher end budget titles that are costing people the cost, one, a lot of money to make, but also a lot of money to buy, right? And the thing with Star Wars is that we know it will eventually be good, right? People have that like, oh, I'll just buy it on sale, right? Or I'll buy it now and wait for the patch to come. But like, why is that? I question that kind of like, why are we letting this be the normalcy? Why are games not releasing in a state where they're ready to go? Why the rush? And because of this rush is where we get instances where like we're paying high-end money for these products that end up not working for a lot of people. And that is just like inherently problematic to me.
Right.
As a consumer.
I think that's exactly it right there. I think we're all getting kind of complacent, and I think it's in every facet of life. This is a video game podcast, so we're going to talk about video games. But there are like I would be remiss to not acknowledge that I think we're going through similar things with much more important things in lives, whether it be housing or politics or rights or laws or whatever that. But specifically when it comes to video games, we're becoming extremely complacent, and this is the only reason why I wanted to bring up the toxic positivity. Is that like when a game like this launches and say there's always going to be absolutely toxic negative comments, but even when you look at a tweet and the overwhelming comments are negative, it's like just because there's a lot of negativity, that doesn't round all that negativity up into toxic. It's like, no, a lot of people are allowed to feel negatively about a game, especially if it's released by a first party publisher. It has this big marketing push. You're seeing all these trailers, and it's just, I'm getting to the point where I'm now realizing, I'm like, wait a minute, like a lot of these games, like Christian, you're absolutely right. Games come out and they do work. That just still happens, right? It's not like every game is broken, but every game that launches broken, they don't have broken trailers, right? So we are on paper, like fact of day, we are being sold a product that is not up to what they promised for any of these games that launch, right? It doesn't matter who's doing it. So there is a level of like, yes, the industry is creating a pattern of explicitly releasing a game almost in an unofficial beta and allowing consumers to pay full price and then also beta test it for them. Which, I'm seeing a lot of people tweet that. And again, some people will jump on that saying that they're being toxic, but it's like, no, that is kind of where we're at. Like that is a pattern that is emerging. And, I lost the point as well too. There's something else that I want to tie that off with, but Rashan, go ahead.
I was going to say, just piggybacking off what you're saying with the negative comments, and almost every time the publishers and the developers are the ones gaining something, we always are losing something.
Yes.
Like we're always losing money, we're always losing time, and they're only ever getting money and possibly wrap on their reputation. And even that isn't permanent, because a couple of years later, they'll release another game and then we'll forget about the bad game sometimes, at least the majority of people will, and still buy the product at the end of the day. They're always getting something. So us being angry is totally justified. Again, we're not trying to be mean to these people, because at the end of the day, they are making something for us, but we are also paying for that thing.
For sure.
Yeah.
Like and Dan's right earlier, what he said, like there's a difference between saying, you did this to me, you ruined my life personally, fuck you, versus somebody saying, hey, this game is not up to stuff. Or even like, again, we can all differ like personally, but even if I were to see a tweet saying like, hey, this game sucks, to me, that's not a personal statement. That is a statement of the product. So if you see a bunch of tweets saying, hey, this game is not good, that's not a personal attack on anyone. That's just saying this game, this product is not good. So like, but
I would argue a little bit. I would argue a little bit,
and that's fine. That's totally fair.
I would say, sorry, I just one little thing. Before I forget, sorry, go ahead.
I want to say my big thing with this, to tie back into what Christian was saying, is that my worry is that gaming journalism, a lot of these reviewers are giving a game a score based on what they think it will be when it runs right. Whereas I'm thinking to myself, we should be rating these games as reviewers get them. If publishers want to get these games out so quickly to reviewers, and if these publications want the reviewers to get these things out fast, the bare minimum that I've been thinking about is that you should at least rate these honestly as they are now. Because when I see games like should Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, regardless of how great the story is, regardless of how great the game feels when it works, if more often than not the game is not working, should it be above a 5? Should it be above a 6? Like, there is an element to game reviews and judging games where it's like, this is software. You have to judge it on performance, the current performance, not of what it might be, right? Even Modern Warfare 2, which at launch, all of us, the four of us, anyone here who played it, like we all enjoyed it, had a good time with multiplayer. It's like, I wouldn't have given that game the 8s that it was getting everywhere. Like, it was beautiful, it was gorgeous, the story was great, but based on performance and what is there at launch at the time of reviewing, like if game reviewers started doing that, we'd see a lot more 6s and 7s instead of 8s and 9s. Because we know the game eventually will be an 8 and 9 when you boot up Jedi Fallen Order, Survivor, whatever, Christian Survivor, whatever, this is. That was a poop joke, by the way.
Nice.
it's when we boot it up a year from now, it is gonna feel like a 9 out of 10, let's say. But like right now, it's like really, this is I don't know. I'm
with you. The caveat of having reviewers say this isn't working, but EA mentioned that a patch will be released later. It's like, okay, well, let me know more about this. I want to know more about your experience of how it is right now. You know what I mean? What did you experience? Anyway,
what's the product that I'm paying for right now? Give me the review of that, right? And that's the thing, is that's exactly right. They'll always have that in review where we've received word from EA or Xbox tells us or Sony's let us know that they're working on well, it's like, no, that's all well and good. I don't care about any of that. What is the game now? And I think if we held people to that standard, you'd see a lot more 6s and like 5, 6, and 7s instead of these 8, 9s, and 10s that we're getting.
The interesting thing there, though, is then we get probably later reviews because publishers will start holding the review embargoes until post-launch. Good or bad.
They did it anyway with Redfall. Yes,
but literally, developers may not get codes to play until midnight instead of the review embargo being midnight. You see what I'm saying?
This is a chicken.
Which I would say, don't pre-order games.
But even that, but there's another way to look at that too, because this becomes a chicken and egg problem where it's like, their reviewers are gonna hold back the codes, but it's like, no, actually, what should happen is that since there's always day one patches nowadays, and since games are getting patched after launch, the release date should be shifted. So those reviewers still get those codes when they would, and then you push the release date back so that it's like, okay, this is how the game would have launched, and it would have been, fairly okay, but this is when reviewers get it, and then, between then and like another 2 months go by, and then it launches or something. I don't know. There's a million different ways you can tackle this problem, and
or
it's
just
easy
come
to say like
the first time. Don't worry about the patch. Just make a good
release
game.
That too. Yeah.
Speaking of which, let's pivot into Redfall, which is worse. It sucks to say, Redfall is not good. I haven't played. I can't say objectively it's not good. Based on reviewers who are playing Redfall, they are not impressed. I'll put it that way.
Right.
Specifically, I linked SkillUp's 30-minute video on Redfall that covers basically everything in that game, and I was surprised that Arcane released something this low in quality. The bar was lowered. It is insane. I'm not going to cover everything, but if you are interested in seeing what state Redfall is in, that SkillUp video is great. It even goes into kind of the Arcane sort of like thesis on, not thesis, but their like mission statement of how they think of level design and crafting, what is the simulation genre that Arcane does?
Oh,
Immersive sim.
Yep.
Yeah, is just not present in this game, and he questions how they could go from Prey and Prey Moonfall into something that is just not up to snuff and should not have released in this state. Pretty bad. Watch that video if you're curious. However, what we're going to kind of pivot to is on Microsoft, because it seems like whether or not they're to blame, they are still being looked at as, because Microsoft owns Bethesda and Arcane now, they're sort of like, well, should Microsoft have let Arcane release in this state? Granted, Microsoft operates with a hands-off approach, right?
Right.
So, can we really blame them? Well, yes and no, right? But there are so many people working at ZeniMax and at Bethesda that it's like, should Microsoft have even been the person to stop this? Should it not have been someone in-house to be like, this game is not ready to go yet, right? That conversation exists as well and is probably valid. But still, Microsoft is going to get the flack simply because they own them and they're in charge of the portfolio of the games they release.
So you can have a hands-off policy, but that does not exclude you from quality control. Right? Like that, sure. You own that company, you own that product that it's releasing, right? Doesn't matter how many times removed you are from it. That does not give you a pass that you don't have to do quality control. So I'll just say that. I'm not saying that like the CEOs at nobody run up to the CEOs at Microsoft and go, you ruined Redfall. Like they probably don't even, I'm sure a lot of them don't even know what Redfall is. They're like, what? I don't, you know what I mean? Like that's how big this company is. But does not give you an excuse to not do any sort of quality control. And I think the reason that people are connecting the dots to Microsoft, whether or not in this specific case it is their fault, is that the common denominator for a lot of the games that have come out and been below expectation, with the exception of Forza Horizon 5, which is great. Everyone loves you. You did great, right? That's the youngest child. You're fine, Forza Horizon 5. You're good. But with everything else, there is a common denominator where a lot of Xbox games are launching broken. Now, regardless of whether or not it's the same people involved with each scenario, I think that's why people are connecting the dots to Microsoft. Whether, again, maybe this time it wasn't their fault. Maybe this time Redfall was doomed from the start, regardless of the acquisition, whatever. But if you're a massive company like this, you need to do quality control. And to Rose's point earlier with that guy with the Game Pass, just because it's available on a subscription service doesn't mean that you get to, okay, it gets to be bad. That's insane school of thought to me.
Let's not forget Hi-Fi Rush, that game.
Sure.
Also
but
great.
I would not consider that like AAA level. I would think that's closer to like what we knew of as AA.
Yeah. Developed
But it is worth
AAA.
mentioning.
Yeah. Yes.
Sure. Yeah. It is worth mentioning for sure. The thing for me is like, this is going to seem like a knock. It's not. The number, I guess, of games that Xbox has put out over the span of the years, right? When we look at them like spread out on a table, it's less than like Sony's side, and actually probably more than Nintendo, to be honest, around there. But people like to point out the ones that have not worked. They like to have what I'd say like selective memory.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, look at us. Look at us. And they're going to point to the most recent ones, which is like Halo Infinite did not perform up to like expectations of the people, right?
Still reviewed very well, though.
Absolutely.
In contrast to this.
Which is worth mentioning for sure.
But it's also part of the problem that we're discussing, right? Is that it reviewed well. Would it have reviewed as well if people were judging it not on what they thought it would be?
But that was based on post-launch, though. I would argue that's a different problem. Because like a lot of the issues were post-launch issues.
I think it's a fair statement to say that Halo Infinite did not live up to the expectations that people wanted it. Gameplay, yes. The package, the game, Halo Infinite, the software package, Halo Infinite, did not live up to people's expectations. Either way, we're derailing Christian. He's in the middle of a thing. So.
Yeah.
My point is, they see Halo, and now they see Redfall, and they think, well, Xbox game, and they don't see many more games on the horizon. That's not a Forza joke. And they start to question the portfolio of Xbox, and they start to question portfolio management and who they think of. They see Phil. It's like, oh, is Phil to blame? And now he's in the hot seat, which is like the line that you can see happening on Twitter right now.
Right.
Again, I'm gonna ask: is that valid? Maybe a little bit. Is it justified? There, you can have those conversations. I don't think it's that clear or that one-to-one, as Dan has mentioned. There's like a lot of other teams. There's a lot of other bosses.
Yeah.
But still, they're gonna get that flack. My point is that we have one more game coming out, and now all eyes are on Starfield with our knowledge now that Redfall just did not launch well, and Xbox has what I would say 2 big games coming out this year, and we know what Bethesda games look like at launch. Is that going to launch just as buggy? And there was a rumor somewhere online, I didn't link it, but someone said that they had seen that it was in worse shape than Redfall. I don't know how much that's true.
I would doubt that.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Just
But we
from
do
how
know
bad
that
Redfall
Starfield-
looks.
It's like, how could it be worse?
Yeah, I don't know how you could possibly.
But we do know that
Hope
Starfield
not.
got its delay, so it is getting that extra level of polish.
Right.
And
How concerned are we?
And Starfield's been in development for far longer than Redfall has been.
Yes.
Like almost a decade to this point. But yeah, it is an interesting conversation. It's also interesting because, like you were saying, Microsoft is essentially washing their hands of this internally, because Phil Spencer was very open when they did the Bethesda acquisition that he was just like, yeah, we're going to just keep letting Bethesda be Bethesda. Pete Hines is going to continue to manage Bethesda as its own thing, essentially, under Microsoft. So does this come back to Pete? I don't know. We've had this conversation before about Microsoft. Who does the buck fall back to? I don't know. Does it come back to Phil Spencer? I don't know. I love Phil Spencer. I think Phil Spencer is a phenomenal dude. I think he loves games. He truly loves gaming. I don't know if he's part of the problem. Maybe he's just not a good manager. I don't know. We just don't know. I think, yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Finish your point, sorry.
No, that's pretty much all I was going to say. We just don't know what's happening behind the scenes to know, like, where the issue lies, I guess.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I just think now that you have bought the studio, it doesn't matter. Like it's always going to be Xbox's fault. It's always going to be
Right.
Phil Spencer's fault.
Yeah.
Maybe not for us, but like for the general gamers out there, they're going to see Redfall and how bad it did, and that's going to be a smudge on Xbox's reputation. Arcane's too, but also it's going to be on Xbox now because Xbox owns them.
Right.
I do.
And-
all intents and purposes, it's an Xbox game. Quote
Exactly.
unquote.
Right.
Yeah, and I think how Redfall launches also lowers the reputation of Game Pass too. We're going to like temper expectations for first party Xbox Game Pass games in the future. Not all of Game Pass, but just like the first party Xbox games. And now Arcane is like in a BioWare situation where after Anthem and what was the other one? Andromeda, their reputation was like, oh god, okay, so this is what BioWare is doing now. And now Mass Effect 4 is coming out. We're excited, but I feel like a little less excited that we would have been if it had just launched after 3.
Right.
And now Arcane, like you guys were telling me on that podcast, like fantastic games, they make amazing games, and I believe you. But now after Redfall has come out, now we're like, I don't know how excited I am for the next Arcane game, or maybe I should be like maybe.
I'm so happy you mentioned this. So happy because Gage pointed out in our private Twitter chat. Take this with a grain of salt. This comes from Reddit/gaming leaks and rumors. A French retailer, according to a French retailer, Microsoft never believe in Redfall, and Arcane Lyon is working on an ambitious game. Supposedly, TLDR is Arcane Lyon is working on something that's much more intuitive, much bigger. They're excited about that project, and they looked at Redfall and they said, "Well, you know what? Taking longer in this game would eat up too much of our development cost. Let's just put it out now. Eat whatever cost. Right? We would lose less money by just shipping it broken, and then move on to the next thing." And it goes back to the question: is that okay? Because people are spending $70 on this game.
So this is where and I just want to jump back to what Dan said, because I am also a big fan of Phil Spencer, but you also have to remember that you can criticize somebody in their job role. It doesn't mean I want to get rid of Phil Spencer. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even somebody who's an overall good force can make a bad decision and can misstep every now and again. So like criticizing Phil Spencer in his possible mismanagement or not management, or we none of us know what's going on. Right. We can say like, hey, Xbox is not up to snuff right now. It doesn't mean I want to get rid of Phil Spencer. He's still an incredible CEO that's done a lot of good things for the Xbox brand, but Xbox is stumbling right now. Those two things are not mutually exclusive. You can have both of those. But back to what you were saying, I think you posed a question earlier about Starfield. I think I'm less worried about Starfield because this comes to the unique nature of video games where even though Bethesda owns both Bethesda Game Studios and Redfall, studios will have a different like Arcane now after Redfall probably has a fire under their ass to really make sure their next game is great. Bethesda Game Studios already went through that with Fallout 76, which, as we all know, wasn't Todd's studio that did it, but it doesn't matter because, like Rashan was saying, public perception. When people picked up Fallout 76, it said Bethesda Game Studios on the box. They don't know that it's not the team XYZ. And honestly, like, and this is where Dan and I get into a lot of disagreements. And I think, again, a lot of it is miscommunication. But I think that, like, between you and me, like, I don't think it's reasonable to expect the average consumer to do all this research and to know that, which is why I forgive, quote unquote, when people get angry and don't know who to yell at, because it's a lot. Like the video game industry, like knowing studios and publishers and the difference between them and who owns what, it is a lot to know, right? So do I think Starfield has a chance of launching poorly? Yes, because AAA games in general have been launching poorly. I don't think that there's an increased chance because it's Xbox or Bethesda, because Todd Howard's studio has already had that fire under their ass since Fallout 76, if that makes any sense.
Just good point. To back you up a little bit on that statement, actually, that makes a lot of sense, and link it back to Redfall. Arcane Austin and Arcane Lyon, two different studios, both called Arcane. And of course, Arcane Lyon is actually the more well-regarded studio. Arcane Austin made Prey, which also had its own issues at launch. I loved Prey, but there were some reviewers, Dan Stapleton, that gave it a 5 out of 10 at launch because it had technical problems. So
good.
Yeah.
Good. I want to
This
see
is
more of
exactly what
that.
Gage wanted.
But here's the thing. In his review, I bet you he didn't say, "I hate this game. The people who worked on this fucking suck. Arcane Leon, go screw." You know what I mean? Like, he didn't say any of that. I'm guessing he said Austin. Yes, Austin. I'm guessing he said something along the lines of, "This game doesn't function. This piece of software does not work as it is advertised." Right? Which is why. Yes.
He ran into a unique game-breaking bug that broke his save, basically. He didn't want to replay the game. Anyways, we're not going back there.
Yeah.
One is,
Anyways.
you should be screening the games you're buying, waiting sometimes. Except for Zelda. Zelda's the only one that's like, yeah, that one's going to be good. That's the only one.
Man, what if that game came out
Only
as
the
a
games
5?
I like.
What if Zelda was a 5?
That would really depress me.
What if
man.
Zelda
That would bum me
deserved
out.
it? What if Zelda deserved it?
No.
Man, no, that can't happen.
How dare you?
No.
See, that you're part of the problem, Daniel. This is why. This is why we have 9s and 10s all over the place.
Should I not pre-order Zelda?
Yeah. Yes.
No, you got to pre-order.
I
Character
don't pre-order games
consistency.
anymore. But
Character
Oh my
consistency.
God.
yeah, but it's the Nintendo seal of quality. Like, I trust Zelda games.
Yeah, I'm sure Nintendo has never released a bad game before.
A bad Zelda game.
Okay, yes, that's fair.
Thank you very much.
I'm really upset that my Christian Colon Survivor didn't get more applause because that was really funny, especially considering the story you told earlier.
Mm.
I just thought I'd bring that up again and see if...
Keurig also
And
hasn't pre-ordered Tears of the Kingdom. Or wait. He said I haven't
Wait.
pre-ordered TOTS yet. I don't know what that means. I think he meant Tears of the Kingdom.
Tears of the Survivor.
Yeah.
Jedi.
Tears
Anyway.
of the Kingdom. Yeah. Okay.
Publishers. Not your friend. Save your money. Ride a cowboy. Thank you again to everyone joining us live on YouTube and Twitch, as well as podcast services everywhere, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere else you get your pods. Thank you, Roshan. Thank you, me. Thank you, Gage. That is Daniel, and this has been Podcast PXN, and we collectively are out of here.
Much love and keep on gaming.
See ya.
Besitos.